when I was in Egypt, I found a bangle, the bangle I'm currently wearing, and this bangle gives me magic powers that hopefully will keep me alive forever. The powers of Imhotep, much like the animated series The Mummy.
Why not just the movie The Mummy?
Because there was no little boy with a magical bangle in the movie The Mummy.
What about The Mummy Returns?
Is that what? Does he have a bangle in that one?
Yeah, remember he puts the bangle on and then he can follow the path.
I have zero memory of The Mummy Returns.
It's almost as good as the first.
I remember The Mummy very well. The Mummy Returns? No, not so much. Is that where the animated show comes from? The animated show
Comes
following on from The Mummy 2?
Yes, because it was a really big franchise. And in the 90s or early 2000s, they're like, let's just make a fucking animated thing out of anything.
Can you remember Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber?
Mm-hmm.
What else? There was a couple of other ones that were like, just did not need a fucking animated series.
I think it was all of them. If you point one out to me, I'll say it was pointless.
I do. I remember Dumb and Dumber.
Jackie Chan had one with like the Jackie Chan Adventures. I mean, Jackie Chan Adventures was pretty great.
Jackie Chan Animated Adventures was fucking good.
Omogwagi Feige Zhao. Omogwagi Feige Zhao. The chant he would do when he got the medallions. I had 2 medallions, by the way. I had the monkey one.
They were talismans.
Oh, it's not medallions?
I think it was talismans.
Either way, I had the monkey one and the snake one.
I always wanted the ox because I wanted to be fucking huge.
You are fucking huge.
It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. So won't you lend an ear?
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Meandering Movie Podcast. So in this week's episode, we're going to explore something that Gary brought up.
Last episode.
Was it 2 episodes? Oh yeah, it was last episode.
Last episode.
It was last episode. And hopefully, if we settle in and define the rules of these things we're about to discuss, Gary will be able to help with his tubbiness in a way, because he could wish it away. Oh, he's not talking to me anymore. I've taken away.
Just keep going.
My co-host from the
fine. Ducking out for a bit. Roland, take over.
Not Roland.
Hello, Gavin.
Hi, Roland.
Why are you so horrible to Gary?
Because it makes me smile to see him sad.
You are a terrible friend.
Roland, I feel that you should introduce yourself to the audience so that they know who you are. Because we've not met you before.
Well, hello everyone. I'm the Dream Machine's infant child. Born from a TV set and a runaway dream machine / McDonald's milkshake maker. I'm here to every now and then chime into these episodes of the podcast. And maybe every episode going forwards. If my voice ever sounds different from this, it's just because we have no real plan. Speak to you in a bit.
Bye, Roland.
I like Roland.
That's because he doesn't bully you like I do.
He's a good guy.
He's a nice guy.
We're gonna discuss the rules around after last week's episode because I feel like we scratched
last week's episode.
last month's episode. It just feels like it was a week ago. Last month's episode, we scratched the surface of what the rules are surrounding Genies. But it's not just Genies, it's fucking everything. There needs to be a playbook for mystical beasts.
Because there are too many movies and such things out there. Movies and movies out there where they have, let's say, a genie or a vampire or a werewolf, and the rules are just kind of a bit muddled of like, oh, it's this rule for this person or this rule for this type of character.
The thing is, I'm not really fussed about the rules because I do appreciate that project to project you might change the rules to make your thing. Like Twilight, prime example, although we can mostly agree that the only defining trait that carries from a Twilight vampire from a regular vampire is that they require blood.
Yeah, they consume blood.
I think that's it though, right?
And all vampires are really good at baseball.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
there's
forgot Bram Stoker had that entire chapter from his 1700 novel.
There was a deleted scene from Nosferatu, which came out like 1912 or something, where they played
Little League.
They played Little League. And it's just Nosferatu.
It wasn't even Nosferatu as Nosferatu. It was the baby Nosferatu.
It was him and Ronald, and they were just kicking about a fucking ball. Or kicking about, they were hitting about a ball with a baseball bat.
You're getting your own metaphors fucked up. Can't do it.
The energy inside my head is so chaotic right now.
So I just want to talk. So I think we'll start with the Genies, because Genies, we touched on it last month. Was that 4 weeks ago we last recorded?
Well, since we last recorded, I've moved into another flat. So I'm now in the last, 4 episodes we've released, we've been in 3 different places. And to go from recording every single episode in one location to then spread it across 3 locations, it's a lot. Who knows where we'll be next month?
The moon.
Abu Dhabi.
What's in Abu Dhabi?
That big tower that Tom Cruise scaled in Mission Impossible 4.
Burj Khalifa?
Burj Khalifa, yeah.
Is that Abu Dhabi?
I think so.
I thought that was Dubai.
Is that not the same place?
Is it?
I have no idea. I've never been.
Geography with the Meandering Movie Boys.
That's why we're doing the Meandering Movie Podcast, not the Meandering Geography Podcast. That'll be a spin-off that comes in the future, where you and I just learn where places are.
I already did the geography song. Now it's your turn.
Indonesia, Africa, Tibet, Tasmania. How did you say Tasmania?
Tasmania.
Tasmania.
I don't think, was it Tasmania I got wrong? I thought it was like Armenia.
You got like 19 of them wrong. But
there's only 50 in the song. It's like the American states. 50 countries and 50 states. That's what the whole
Tanzania.
world.
You said Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Instead of Tanzania.
Let's do the rules around Genies.
Okay.
Question 1.
Mm-hmm.
As I said in the last recording, how much magic can a genie use? This is, to be honest, this is the main point of contention here. How much genie magic can a genie use for their own purposes?
Yeah,
what's the surrounding? What are the limits?
I mean, it seems like the limits are unlimited.
Because which is,
I guess the defining genie for a lot of people is going to be Aladdin's genie.
Aladdin's genie. Well, I can't think. The only genies I can really think of in pop culture would be the genie, Disney's genie. There's pantomime Aladdin genies.
Yes.
All of them make like gay jokes.
Do they?
I feel like that's like.
Having never been to a pantomime to see a genie.
Have you never been?
No.
Oh, there's always one character that's always making slightly off color, like not homophobic jokes, but jokes about being gay.
Oh,
like a genie would pop up and he'd be like, "Ooh, Aladdin, I'm here to give you 3 wishes," and then
and one of them can't be to bum me.
yeah, and then Aladdin would be like, "Oh, where have you been?" He'd be like, "I've been in that lamp for 1,000 years. I've come out all bent." Ooh. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, bent being gay.
And that's like the level of comedy for like the old, because those are the jokes for the older generation taking their kids there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's saying that he's gay and that's funny. Oh.
And shit like that. But it always, like every pantomime genie follows that.
So to summarize the 2 genies we have so far, we have Robin Williams' genie from Aladdin, and we have the homophobic genie. Those are the
homophobic panto genies.
homophobic panto genies.
And we have I Dream of Genie.
Which is, the little woman in the...
She wasn't a little. She was a regular sized woman, but when she was in the lamp, she was little.
So she was partly little, partly not little. There's the Will Ferrell movie.
If I could make myself little...
Yeah. Let's not go down.
If I could make myself... No. So if you knew me like this, and at whim, I could shrink down to like thumb size.
Like borrower size.
Would you think I was little? Or would you be like, oh, he's made himself little?
He's made himself little.
Right, so I Dream of Genie makes herself little.
Okay, fair. You know what? You make an argument and it's solid and I can't dispute it. I want to try, but I can't.
So I think we spoke about Aladdin's Genie last time, and it is like so Aladdin's Genie, from what I can understand, has full control over his magic ability.
Yeah, he's like top level genie.
But like even... So the rule surrounding a genie is you need to rub the lamp, you get 3 wishes, the genie has to...
Oh, that's where like the gay joke could come from, and the homophobic ones are like, oh, you give it a wee rub, I'll give something else a rub.
Have you tried sucking it instead of rubbing it? Ooh.
Ooh.
I don't know why I'm making that noise. I feel like every time they would follow it with some like, yeah. Anyway, so you rub the lamp, you get the 3 wishes, you crack on. But Aladdin's genie, especially, is very like once he's out the lamp, especially once Aladdin rubs the lamp and he's just like popping in and out of the lamp at will. Because there's another question: what's the fucking deal with that?
So you're saying that once lamp is rubbed, he should just be out lamp all time? Don't know why I said it like that.
He's out lamp until you've made your wish, and then he's back in lamp until the next rubbing occurs.
Oh, so you think a rubbing in between every wish?
Well, what does the rubbing signify? You rub the lamp to get the genie out, right? Otherwise, what's the fucking point of rubbing it?
I would say the initial, like the first time.
Does it need to be a rub? Could I?
What if
I've got here's me with Aladdin's lamp, right? And I'm like, oh, I think there's something in this lamp, and you're like, why don't you rub it? And I'm like, no, I don't fancy that. Me being me, could I just suck the genie out of the lamp?
I think Aladdin's genie, no, but I dream of genie. I dream of genie, yes.
I think if I remember, I Dream of Genie had a few episodes where she like they tipped the lamp and she slid out.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, I remember watching that when I was a kid, like before going to school and stuff. And she had like a wee like couch and stuff and a wee coffee table. And sometimes the lamp would be like in the back of a car getting thrown around, and she would be like, "Oh Jesus!" She'd be getting thrown around. Whereas I feel like Aladdin's genie just becomes like a cloud of nothing. That it just exists in there, like vapor.
So could I? So do I need to rub a lamp?
I think the lamp is how you initiate your 3-wish experience. You know,
Right. Okay. So I find a lamp. I turn it up, guzzle down some genie juice, suck him out. He pops out and he's like, "Oh, what up, Gary? I'm gonna give you 3 wishes." I'm like, "Nice one. Wish for a bike."
that's your first wish.
I can't think of anything.
Something you go to Halfords and buy for like 20
bikes
quid.
are expensive. And on top of that, what's your first wish then, dickhead?
My first wish is unlimited money.
Can't do that.
Because then I can buy all the bikes I'd ever want in my life.
You can't wish for unlimited things.
Why not?
Well, because there's got to be rules surrounding it.
Okay, I want enough money to sustain me until I die at old age.
All right, fine. Well, that one's fine. Well, that's my second wish then. And I've got a bike as well. So.
Pooh, you can just buy
It's a magic bike, isn't it?
How is it magic? How is the bike
It's
magic?
made of genie magic. If you took a microscope and you went right down to the atomic level, you wouldn't see its atoms. You'd see genie magic.
You'd see more bikes.
Probably. I assume the genie doesn't really have the...
So
does the genie understand what
let's
atoms
just roll
are?
this back for a second. You've received lamp. You've tried to suck it. That's not worked. So you then...
It has worked.
So then you've
What's
rubbed
the
it.
rubbing do? What does the rubbing do?
The rubbing is the...
This is what I'm talking about, Gavin.
This is why we want to get
This is
into
what I
the
wanna get
nitty gritty.
What does the rubbing do?
So I see the rubbing as, you know, when you want to get into your car. How do you get into your car? You click the wee button on your key.
Yeah.
You don't walk up to it and like rub your genitals against it because that's not going to...
That's not the same. That's not the same.
There is a specific way to gain access to your car.
Yes.
And that is to use the key to gain access to it.
But there are no buttons on the outside of the lamp.
Okay.
So does the genie know you're rubbing the lamp?
I would assume so.
How? Can he feel it?
I'm assuming the lamp becomes part of him until he is...
So what you're saying is, what I'm hearing is, if I, instead of rubbing the lamp, did suck the genie out, I'd be probably getting 5, maybe 6 wishes. Because he'd be like, that was real good getting me out of that lamp that way.
Oh, so you think going against the grain...
I'm asking the question, if he can feel you rubbing the lamp, then he can feel me sucking the
I'm
lamp.
feeling we want to zero down into... The rule is you rub the lamp.
But why?
Because that's what's been set out. That's just what works.
But what does the rubbing achieve? Is it just jostling him awake? You're right. Let's fuck the Aladdin's genie off, right? I find a lamp and it's got a big old pink nose and a shit beard line and a pair of specs, and I'm like, oh, this lamp's probably got a Gavin genie in it and a bad haircut.
What's wrong with my haircut?
And it's way too skinny.
I've got lots of compliments recently about my haircut
from idiots. And I'm like, I'm gonna get the Gavini out of this. Gavini McCall.
Oh god. Please do not swear.
I'm gonna get Gavini McCall out of this lamp.
Dated fucking reference.
I rub the lamp,
Uh-huh.
how in the lamp do you know that I've summoned you?
Here's how. And this is what I had a wee thought before you started this, is that the lamp could have been sitting there for millennia.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been under
Which
this.
it has been in Disney's Aladdin. It's been
Exactly.
in the Cave of Wonders.
There's also that George Miller movie that he did where Idris Elba was a genie, and that... I can't remember what's...
I didn't watch that one.
3,000 Years of Longing or
Yeah,
something?
you watched it though, right?
It was not good.
How did he come out of the lamp?
That's a great question. I wish Audio Boy still existed and they could have told us that. Maybe Ronald knows.
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay, thanks, Ronald. Thanks for your help. Even less useful than your fucking dad or Audio Boy.
I'm brand new. I haven't watched any movies yet. You skinny fuck.
Why is Ronald all... Why is it Audio Boy, Dream
You
Machine?
just told him he was no use to you. I think that's a fair response.
Because when I can't look to you for information, I need to look to the third seat. And Ronald is in the third seat.
I'm not on the seat. I'm just off the seat.
What do you mean?
I have no wheels.
Oh yeah,
He does have wheels.
He's got 2 legs and wheels like a crippled dog from Babe Pig in the City.
Yeah, it's pretty unsettling.
I can't remember how he gets out of the lamp.
Because I know of that movie is that Idris Elba comes out, makes the sexy with Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
I would assume the rubbing of the lamp becomes an allegory for like foreplay or something for them, right?
I don't think so.
Really? Feels too easy.
I can't remember how it...
Well, if you can't remember, let's move on. You're in the lamp. The Gavini's in the lamp. I find the lamp after it not being jostled for 3 million years, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to get them out. What are you going to prefer? The rub? Little sook?
Well, here's what...
I just open the top of the lamp and go, you're right, mate. Do you want to pop out?
And it's just my face. It's like, hello!
all right.
I see the rubbing of the lamp as like, you know, if you've got a dirty window,
Yes.
like say you got a fogged up window,
Yeah.
you rub it and then you can see out it. So that's why I see that is like, toot, 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 and then the genie looks out from inside the lamp and goes, oh, there's a person beckoning me. Better head on out.
Right.
Boop, genie's out.
Okay. So you think it has to be a rubbing motion?
Yes.
You don't think you could suck a genie out?
I personally wouldn't choose to.
Similar, and then we'll move on. If I did open the lamp, it's an oil lamp. Theoretically, you're meant to burn it and it heats or cooks or whatever.
Yeah.
If I was like, well, I've got my magic Gavini lamp, but I'm not going to rub it. I'm an idiot, and I didn't realize. I actually don't mind it being dirty as fuck. Take it home, and I'm like, I think I'm going to make myself a cup of tea in that.
God.
What happens to you in the lamp? You just swimming around in some tea leaves and boiling water?
Well, again, I think the lamp is part of the genie until he is freed from being a genie. So I think the lamp also has power.
How can it be part of him?
Because he exists with the
It's
lamp.
a cage.
Yeah,
Right. If you get sent to prison, Gav, you don't become part of the fucking prison.
But, well, you kind of do it in a way.
It's not like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, part of the ship, part of the crew.
Why not?
Because it's not. That's not how it works.
Oh, God. It such annoys my chair. I think the lamp is part of the genie, and those come part and parcel. You cannot have lamp without genie. You cannot have genie without lamp. So I think the lamp in itself
That
has...
raise a good point, actually, because when Jafar becomes a genie, when Jafar wishes, Jafar's 3 wishes, for anyone who can't remember, I wish to be Sultan, which is all... Aladdin completely fucked his wishes. So you think of Aladdin's
This
wishes.
from the man who started off with, I want a bike. That's fucking rich coming from you.
No, but like Aladdin's 3 wishes. I wish to be a prince. I wish for you to save me, granted, because he had to, and then he wishes for the genie to be free.
Yeah.
Before that, he tricks the genie into getting him out of a cave. So Aladdin gets 1 wish,
Yeah.
basically, and his life saved, whatever. Jafar cuts straight to the point. He's like, I wish to be Sultan. Genie's like, oh,
Done.
fuck. Makes him Sultan. And then, because Jafar's already a wizard, he's like, I'm now the Sultan and a little bit of a wizard. And Genie's like, yeah, well, oh no, or Aladdin or Jasmine, whoever is like, yeah, well, you know, you're still just a Sultan. And he's like, yeah, you know what I am? Fuck it. I wish to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world. Boom. And then Aladdin goes, well, you're still no more powerful than this genie. Genie's the premium being. So then he wishes to be a genie. And you're right. A magic lamp poofs into existence to trap the genie. But that doesn't make any sense.
Why?
Because when Aladdin frees the genie's lamp becomes an inert regular lamp?
Because that was his lamp.
So if you free Jafar, there'll be a jet black evil lamp kicking about, which won't have any powers anymore.
Yes.
So when you wish a genie free, all you're really doing is wishing a lamp into existence.
Technically, yes.
Technically. Long form.
Technically, you're just like, hey, that's a nice looking lamp. I want to get that fucking genie out of it so I can keep it on my bedside table or something, you know?
Why would it be a lamp? Does it need to be a lamp?
I mean, this is where we have to go. We have to travel back far in time to where did the first genie come from? And
Jinn. They were evil wish granting deities.
okay, and
Not always evil, but mostly they were like the old school genies would always monkey's paw it. I wish, your wish. Yeah, I wish to have an unlimited amount of money that would last me for the rest of life. Boom, you've got it, but you're also a corpse now.
like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror one where they find the monkey paw.
Or like the classic cautionary tale, the monkey's paw. The
I want
Simpsons
to give
parodied
an
off.
example that relates to our listenership. Thank you. Which is Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And that's what my brain went to, because that's my fucking basis for it.
I read something really good the other day about the difference between horror and like modern horror and classic horror. Did I speak to you about this?
No.
So
You don't speak to me anymore.
you want to do this on mic?
No, I don't want to do this.
You want to do this right now?
No, it's
while
fine.
we're recording?
No, it's fine.
Leave all this in the episode?
No, I'll cut this all out. Want to leave it in despite you.
I read a really good thing. Classic horror and modern horror. So, and it used the monkey's paw as a prime example. So if you don't know monkey's paw story, a couple find a monkey's paw. They get warned, like, don't make wishes of it because it's an evil monkey's paw or whatever. They get warned. They then make wishes, and the first two wishes go kind of horribly wrong. But
Can I have a bike?
can I have a bike? And then the bike appears, but it's got a bent wheel. Oh! Anyway,
Oh, we're back to the homophobic genies again.
I think the second wish they make, or the fourth, because it has 5. I can't remember. Whatever. The second last wish they make is that their son died in the war, so they wish for him to come back.
Or is this Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
Yeah.
I wish for my son to have never died.
I'm sad. So they wish for their son to come back, and then the remainder of the book is like this, like an entity, a being comes to the door, shuffles up, and they can hear it, and it's banging. And the dad's like, "We gotta let it in," and the mum's like, "Absolutely fucking not! Get rid of that fucking thing." And eventually, the dad wishes. They use the final wish to send it back to where it came from. I think they're like, "Oh, I wish for you to go back to where you came from." Whatever.
So they're racist.
No. Why are you adding color to this? Anyway, the article was making the point that that's a classic horror book. It's one of the like best well-known pieces of classic literature horror, which has been parodied and referenced through all time in history. But you never actually see the horror. You never see the entity. You never see the son. All of the tension in the horror comes from the fact that it's on the other side of this door. Modern horror, 100%, it would have burst through the door, ripped off the mum's legs, taken the dad's eyes out, chewed the eyes. The eyes would have burst all over the camera, and then the dad would have gone, "I wish for you to go away," and then instead the wish would have been twisted and more of them would have come, or something like that. Anyway,
and that
I thought
would
it
have
was
been
interesting.
That would have been the opening to the schlocky Netflix horror movie that then would have splashed up the title Three Fingers, and then the movie of like 4 teenagers at high school with, have you seen this new thing we gotta play with? And then that's where the movie goes from there.
It's funny how you said that so like derisively, like you really made fun of it, and you were like, "Oh, fucking Netflix dumb fucking plot." But that's also the opening to Talk to Me, which you fucking loved.
Excellent point. I will shut up now. So I want to go back to and get far away from that point of, so then what came first, the 3-finger monkey paw or the genie with the lamp?
Jinn existed before the monkey paw.
Okay, so, and then how did the jinn end up in lamps?
I don't fucking know. That's my whole question. Presumably the first jinn wasn't in a lamp.
Do you think at some point someone will have put in a genie... someone will have put a genie in a lamp? And
what I know of gods and deities and mythology,
which you should know a lot because you did a podcast with
I
them.
do know quite a bit about it. What I know of it, jinn were just beings from like Ifrits and what's the other one? Jinn, Ifrits, and not Khajiit. That's the thing from Skyrim. Jinn Ifrits. There's another like demon from a plane of.
Is it Pizzazu?
Effectively, but these are all kind of like Eastern deities and gods and demons, and the Jinn were known to. Imps are in this kind of like hierarchy as well. And they were known to be the wish granting. So presumably, but they just existed. Presumably at some point in mythology history, someone was like, wouldn't it be nice if instead of like having to go through this whole chalk on the ground, burning candles, slaughtering 10 virgin ritual every time I wanted to wish for £1,000,000 or... Actually, back then, they probably didn't even have that, like, capitalist mindset. They would have just been like, I wish for a good harvest.
I wish for a healthy son.
I wish for a healthy son. If I don't have to go through all this nonsense, how about I, like, bind a djinn or a genie to a mortal thing, which I can then summon it for? And then the genie, I guess, would have just been like, well, yeah, fine. Technically, you've done all the things you had to do. But fuck you. 3 wishes. That's all you're fucking getting. You fucking cock.
You Cossack.
You fucking Cossack.
That's a reference from our life.
Presumably that's like the shtick though, right? Because if I got imprisoned in a fucking shitty brass lamp, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, man, it's cool. I love being in here.
Yeah,
you know when I was in the ethereal everplane and I existed for a millennia before you ever even fucking heard my name, and I just got to chill out with my genie bros and we magic shit into existence and did sick Jack Nicholson fucking references. Well, now I'm here in this fucking brass lamp in the fucking desert times. This is literal hell.
This is exactly where I didn't want to be. And now, I just get to give you things and you have shit wishes. Great, even better.
Great, you get 3. You get 3 wishes.
Here's a question for you.
Go.
Do you think it's better to be the genie when he's in, like, as you point out, ethereal genie world being Jack Nicholson with his buddies? Or is it better to be freed and then live in the shitty desert with a bunch of other poor people where, there's kings and oligarchs and you have nothing?
I mean, probably you want to be in the original plane, in your own plane of existence, right?
Yeah. But the genie seems quite like, get me out of here. I hate being...
Well, I think after millennia of being in a brass fucking oil lamp, you're going to be pretty fucking fucked off with it.
Can you imagine me and you?
Like you've gone from your hometown. I've then trapped you in a lamp for a millennia. Maybe 5 millennia. Let's say 10 millennia. 10,000 years in a
Let's just
in
keep
a
going
lamp.
up. 50 millennia.
50 millennia, whatever. And you, every couple of millennia or every 100 years, some dickhead rubs a lamp and you watch the same shit play out where they come out and they're like, I can get anything. And you're like, yeah, you can. That's the deal. You can have anything. And he's like, I wished for power. Yeah, well, what a surprise.
What a shock.
You're a fucking king. I wish for her to love me.
See, that's what 3,000 years of longing could have been, but it really wasn't. It's pretty, just nothing.
I thought you didn't remember.
I just remember that it's Idris Elba telling the story of his, of like how he got to where he is, and he's just, I was with this sultan for a while, and they did this or that, and I got trapped here, and I couldn't do this, and this was shit. And you're like,
so my theory is Genie 1 or Jinn 1 summoned to the material plane, strapped to a fucking lamp, gives the 3 wishes rule, right? Maybe it happened again, maybe it didn't. However, at some point in history, Genie 2 comes into existence, right?
Yeah.
Not Disney's Aladdin's Genie, because it can't be. I'll explain why in a second. And it probably came from when someone who finally had the forethought to be like, how can I be, rather than this genie lamp bollocks where I only get 3 of them, how can I be as powerful? I wish to be a genie. And let's presume that was like a couple of 100 years later, right?
Yeah.
People know the genie exists. He's a bit of a myth, whatever. That guy wishes to be a genie. Genie's like, yeah, cool, I'll make you a genie. Finally, monkeys paw that motherfucker. Turns him into a genie. And then and the new rule from Angry Genie 1 is like, you can only give 3 wishes, and also you're going to be in a lamp as well, you fucking penis.
you penis.
You fucking dick. That's what you get. So then from that point onwards...
What you get for shagging my missus.
Yeah, so then from that point onwards, presumably every genie after that was just like,
Oh, this is how
when
it
you
must
make
be.
someone, if somebody ever makes the folly of wishing to be a genie, you have to put them in a lamp, which would explain why they're in lamps. It would also explain like the longer in time you go, like if Aladdin happened today, you would find a genie in like a Walkman or something,
An Apple iPod.
or like yeah.
An iPod Touch.
What do you do? How would you get a genie out of an iPod Touch?
You just scroll really fast.
Use the little wheel,
Use a little wheel and just...
presumably.
Have we...
We still haven't answered the question of how much magic can the genie use for itself.
well, that's because we got stuck on the lamp.
The lamp's a big thing. That's what I think about the lamp, though. That's where I think the lamp comes from.
We either have to define genies quick and move on, or we just have to move on, because we've been on genies for a long time.
That's okay.
We've not really been on genies.
You sent me a message before we started recording this. Do you really think the well of what the rules of genies are is a deep well, Gary? And I said, yeah, I can talk about it for hours. And you said, we'll see. How you feel now, Gav?
Well, so far we've only talked about the lamp. We haven't really talked about the genie.
Let's talk about the genie. How much magic can a genie use on itself?
Well, going off what you just said,
Going off what I said in the last episode and what I just said, go.
that a genie's power is
Infinite.
infinite unless it relates to itself.
But I think a genie can use, other than the being trapped in the lamp, the genie can do fucking anything.
Well, like you say, the genie can like make itself look like Jack Nicholson and play tennis with itself and be Will Smith and all that type
Duplicate
of stuff.
itself, clone itself, do a song and dance routine where its hands are like
Can't
little
defeat a
people.
rug, to be fair.
Can't beat a rug.
It can't beat a rug, but it can change how it looks, but I don't think it can do. It's powerless to save itself.
Yeah, but that's just because the contract. The original contract must have been you're in a lamp.
So
3 wishes.
How powerful can you be if you have limitations on how powerful you can be? You know.
Well, but all right. So what does the genie do in Aladdin? What does Aladdin's genie do for itself? And I also have another theory, by the way, which the witches in Sabrina the Teenage Witch aren't witches. I think
They're genies.
I think they're offshoot genies.
What's the cat?
I think he's just like a fucked up genie.
Was he not like a warlock or something?
Yeah, he's done a spell wrong, turned into a cat.
And then just
Do you remember all the weird shit in Sabrina where they'd be like, if you ever tell your mum you're a witch, then she'll turn into a ball of wax?
no. I'm going to be honest. My recollection of Sabrina is that she went to school. She had 3 hot mums, and the cat talked.
2 hot mums.
Was it not 3?
Well, they were also her aunts.
Well, yeah, they're all the aunts, but they're also just like her.
Helga, Zelda, and then Raoul used to pop up every now and then.
It's mental the things you remember.
Raoul was the little fella, the little person who would...
No, was he just shrunk down, or was he actually?
No, he was an actual little
Okay.
person. And he would come up semi-frequently, and he was always like a slightly different magical being. I think at one point he was a leprechaun, then he was a warlock, and then he was like a magical creature tamer.
Was he ever a genie?
Probably, I can't remember, but I feel like at one point they would have made him a genie because he was like the temp, like he couldn't ever land a job, so he just kept flitting from magic profession to magic profession.
There are so many like weird deep cut things I know about like foreign cinema and directors and movies of old, but you know fucking Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Transformers and
Yeah, the things I really like. I really know.
how much did you like Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
I used to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch all the fucking time. Are you
See,
kidding me?
I'd see it in passing, like, oh, it's on a Saturday morning. Oh, I've watched that for a wee bit. And it was time to move on to anything better, like Digimon or something, you know?
Yeah, Sabrina, Digimon, all of them. I'd watch them all.
Tracy
But
Beaker.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch was good.
I'm not saying it was bad. It's just I was never like.
I think it's
"Oh."
because, all right, so when I was growing up, Saved by the Bell and like Hollyoaks and anything,
yeah.
I mean, this is getting a bit later on, but all of those like Neighbours, Saved by the Bell, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Home and Away.
all those. I liked them because they were on the TV and I had video games, but the internet wasn't really a thing.
Because we're that old.
Because we're that old. If you're young and listening to this, it sucked.
There was nothing to do.
So
So to
like,
light a candle and blow it out and then light it again.
so I used to watch all this shit. But I've always had like a penchant for like fantasy stuff. I've always been more interested in like magic and spells and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and all that kind of stuff. So Sabrina was like the perfect bang down the middle. It's got all your high school drama, boy meets girl, girl meets boy, love and friendships and Saved by the Bell drama, but also magic shit's fucking happening. What?
See, I liked explosions and guns and just typical boy shit.
Like, did you know Action Man is a Hasbro? He's like the British G.I. Joe.
Why have they never done Action Man, like a movie?
Because they brought G.I. Joe across.
I know, but
And also, I feel like Action Man is so shit.
I mean,
G.I. Joe sounds fucking sick ass.
It does.
It's like, what have we got? We got Action Man.
but
look at me, Action Man. He's got a parachute.
this is a topic I've got saved for another time. But they should absolutely just do Barbie, but with like Action Man, like the Barbie movie with Margot Robbie, but then do an Action Man
They
version.
did. It's called G.I. Joe.
No, but like G.I. Joe just does like, here's G.I. Joe where they're like trying to save the world. I want an Action Man movie where it's like, it's introspective and he's like, who am I? You know? It's not Jackie Chan's who am I, it's Action Man's who am I?
The biggest problem with Action Man is that, like, what's the lore surrounding Action Man?
I think he's just like the best at being an Action Man for anything.
When his job title is his name, it's so good. What's your name, soldier? Action Man. What's your job, soldier? Action Man. I'm just the best at being Action Man. No, right.
Do you happen to have a theme song? Yeah, it's Here Comes Action Man.
Did he have a theme song?
Probably.
I don't think he did.
You must.
Right. That's not what I was meaning. That's funny as shit. What I was meaning is so G.I. Joe. I don't even know much about G.I. Joe, but I know G.I. Joe is up
You know
against
Transformers, so you must know G.I. Joe.
I know of G.I. Joe. I don't know. Like, I know plenty of Transformers shit. I do not know enough G.I. Joe. My point being, G.I. Joe, I do know fights the Cobras.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander and Snake Eyes, and they're the bad guys, right? He-Man fights Skeletor.
Yeah.
The Transformers, the Autobots fight the Decepticons. Good, bad, always very obvious. What is the lore surrounding Action Man? Who are the bad guys?
Here's what I want to say. And because I remember I played an Action Man PS1 game, and I had a couple of Action Man action figures,
I had
not
a fucking
dolls.
shit ton of Action Man dolls.
I also had a lot of G.I. Joe action figures as well. Not dolls, as my grandparents insisted in calling them, as they tried to demasculate me. And you won't demasculate my Action Man. It's so dumb. They're like the boys' toys when you're a kid.
They're not they're not dolls. They're figurines.
They're action figures, and there's Action Man and G.I. Max Steel. Do you ever play Max Steel?
I do remember Max Steel.
Ben 10. Just
Pocket,
like
what was Max Steel was Polly Pocket for boys, wasn't it?
Max Steel was it was like a cartoon, but he was also an action figure where like, he had a metal arm. And it was made of steel, and it could like.
Oh, maybe I don't remember this. Who am I thinking?
Max Steel was on Channel 5.
I'm talking about what was the boy version of Polly Pocket? Mighty Max.
Mighty Max. Do you know what I love when it
ripped.
comes to boys' toys in those days? It's just like just give them two words that sound
Two words that they can
like
say. That
two
sound cool.
adjectives of some kind, or a name and an adjective.
What? Gavin, stop deflecting. What
Thank
were
you.
the Action
Get me
Man
back
bad
on
guys?
on track. I think it was some sort of reptile-like.
Was it?
I think so. Because I remember in the PlayStation 1 game that I played, which was a top-down, like, original GTA 1 style game, where I was trying to kill a dinosaur, like a T-Rex. And I think later on, a reptile of some kind, or maybe that's Max Steel, where the reptile was the bad guy. Max Steel and Action Man are more or less the same.
Every single advert I remember seeing for an Action Man was Action Man shooting Action Man. It was two kids with two different Action Men who were like blasting guns at each other.
And a lot of the Action Men were dressed as like the enemies were dressed in like German.
Well, I was going to say my memory, and I don't know if this is just because of the years of actual life happening, and especially when I grew up, the bad guys were very specifically like Taliban and ISIS. But I feel like I distinctly remember Action Man shoot a bunch of like chic wearing like brown people.
Yep. Yep. I think
that seems like it seems so fucked up now that I'm thinking about it.
I think Action Man was probably a character that came around, let's say like the 60s or the 70s, designed to like, hey, what's the enemy of today? Cool, Action Man's going to fight that. So at one point it was the Germans, then it's going to be the Russians. Oh, who's the enemy now? Oh, it's all the people over in the Middle East. So we'll just take an Action Man and take a brown pen and colour him in, put that in the TV and goes, that's the bad guy now.
It was I looked up to this recently. It was Hasbro. It was genuinely Hasbro's attempt at cracking G.I. Joe in the UK market. That's where Action Man came from.
I guess because G.I. Joe was so American.
Yeah, they were trying to make it far more British, which is why Action Man's outfit is like brown camo and G.I. Joe is like red, white, and blue. What was your favorite Action Man as a kid? Because I have 3 that I distinctly remember.
The one that I remember having that I loved was he could go underwater and swim.
In his arms?
Yeah, in his arms and legs.
I remember that.
I had
he
that.
was fucking incredible.
And
That
then
was
I
a
just
great
had
one.
basic...
You have to wind him up and then let him go in the bathtub and he'd like swim in circles.
Yeah.
That was dynamite.
Didn't work, though.
Mine fucking was great.
Mine
I
didn't
remember
work.
it.
My
Rubbish.
bathtub maybe wasn't big enough. I don't know.
The other 2 I remember distinctly. Because I know there's probably fucking hundreds. The other 2 I remember distinctly.
Yeah, it's going to be like, there's President Barbie. There's going to be swimming Action Man.
The one that I remember that was shit, like super shit, because he was just like Action Man in like green camos, a red paper thin plastic parachute.
Oh, the
strapped to his
material
back.
was so cheap.
And I remember throwing him out the window once, being like,
Yep.
Action Man's gonna parachute down from my fucking first floor, second story window, and he just hit the deck like a fucking rock.
But you know what's the best part?
No, because I remember my like mum coming up and being like, "Why are you doing throwing rocks out the window?" I was like, "I was playing with my Action Man." She was like, "Well, he's fucking broken." Just so fucked. She just thought I was launching shit out my window.
I love the image that like your mum's sitting in the living room. She's reading a book or something, and the next minute she just hears outside. She's like, what the fuck was that? And it's the toy that she just bought you from Toys R Us. It probably costs like 18 quid or
like
something.
50 quid at that
and like
point?
legs broken off. But you know what's the great thing about the parachute Action Man is you would
Nothing. He was terrible.
No, but this was a great part in the mind of a child is you would throw him out of the window.
Yeah.
He would never parachute. He would only plummet. Is you would then go downstairs, get him, fix him if necessary, which more or less you would.
Oh, you had to do it.
And then you would go back, throw it out again, thinking maybe this time it will happen.
The final Action Man I remember. And this is like, although the parachute in Action Man never fucking worked.
No.
This one, it was arguably shitter, but still I loved it so much. So it was an Action Man, blue camo this time, and it came with a thick rubber like helmet that covered his entire face except for a little eye slit. And he was Ninja Action Man with... And my little fucking kid mind was blown away. I can't remember why I was desperate for this one.
Oh,
with the little slot at the back of his head, and his eyes would go left and right. Sneaky eyes, sneaky Ninja Action Man.
Do you know what? I'll give the makers of the Action Man, the Hasbros and stuff. They were trying to like do some interactive toys, but they were so cheaply made.
Oh, so shit.
They would break so quickly, especially because you're giving it to kids. And in the adverts, they're like, take him out into the mud and throw him around and put him underwater and waterboard the fuck out of your Action Man. And then it's just like, oh.
Get the state secrets out of Action Man. He'll never tell.
Yeah, don't trust those shifty eyes. You don't know what secrets Action Man's keeping from you.
I feel like if there was an alternate dimension where everyone is inherently evil, that would be the advert. Like, get Action Man now. You can torture him. Throw him out the window with a broken parachute. Yeah, get fucked, Action Man.
Trust nothing he says.
Press the button on his back to hear his name and rank. Action Man. Army rank SI 504. That's all you're getting from me.
Action Man has his own waterboarding noises. Comes with his own little letter like, give this to my wife. And it's covered in like dried blood.
Dry blood. Like, no, it's just in like the on the front, it's got like one single tear mark smearing the fucking ink. Anyway, Genies.
Jeez.
Do you want to move on? Should we talk about werewolves? The werewolves one comes from this. One simple question. I want you to think about this. I want you to answer it as if you were a scientist.
Okay.
If I put a werewolf in a rocket and sent him to the moon, what would happen?
If you sent a werewolf to the moon in a rocket, well,
let's just for talking sake say there's a oxygen bubble up on the moon. that he can survive in.
I mean,
right?
where I was going to go to first is this a Russian-made rocket? Is this like a China-made rocket?
It says that he can. We'll
Because if it's-
skip all this.
Let's say if it's like a Russian-made rocket, he's not making it to the moon. He's going to veer off course, and he's going to end up deep into
Deep in
the
space.
Milky Way.
Floating around. Yeah, if a werewolf was on the moon, is what's the stick? What's happening?
This is a tough question.
Good question,
I was
right?
a great question that I was not ready for. I'm gonna say
If you want to do what we did with the genies, and you want to go back, and you want to lay out the lore of the werewolf, that's cool. You don't have to jump to your final answer. We can hypothesize.
let's work back up to Werewolf on the Moon, which
Cool.
is
So-
a great movie title.
So that's the final point. So the question then is, what do we know about werewolves? One, the full moon
Causes them to
causes a transformation.
transform.
Human during the day,
Mm-hmm.
werewolf at night.
Yeah.
How many days is a werewolf a werewolf?
How many full moons happen during a year?
So it's once a month, right? It's like a 30-day cycle for a new moon, I think. But
Or-
what I'm saying is, does a werewolf change happen like the day before, day after? Is it only the full moon? Is it like a certain amount of moonlight?
Well, here's the difficult thing, because when it comes to werewolves in movies now, I feel like they've gotten rid of the moon part and they're just going for, he can become a werewolf whenever he chooses and pleases.
Yeah, that was a Twilight thing.
Because like if you're watching like the Underworld movies, they're just like, they're just werewolves whenever they want. Like Michael Sheen just becomes a werewolf,
that's a good
and,
point,
and they
actually.
just
It's not
smack
a
about and
Twilight
fight.
thing.
Twilight as well, they just turn into wolves. Like I feel
Twilight, they're not really werewolves. Twilight, they call them. I think they got called werewolves. Did they call themselves werewolves in Twilight? I can't remember. But they're more like skinwalkers in Twilight,
yeah.
especially because they've got the Native American. Is that what you call Native Americans now? Is that offensive? I have no idea.
Well, we've said it. Well, no, in fact, you've said it. I said nothing. So I'm safe. You're
But
not.
because it's kind of got that history attached to it, they're closest to the skinwalker legends. I would
Yeah.
say.
So now we have to decide: are we going? Are you?
I would say that every classic Wolfman through to up until recently when they start doing it for movie purposes, werewolves change on the full moon.
Is it Werewolf in London? Does he change? He changes for the full moon in that one, doesn't he?
I'm sure he does.
And then
Well,
you've
the
got
full moon's like a key part of the werewolf. Because otherwise, what? You just turn into a werewolf whenever?
Teen Wolf. He just changes into a werewolf whenever he wants. Because maybe he's just playing basketball.
That's an accident. He changes by accident.
But there's
I
no.
can't remember why.
But there's no full moon.
But is it because it's a full moon night?
Could be. See, I think classic werewolf. If we go classic like Hammer horror monster werewolf, then yes, it's full moon.
Yeah.
But pretty much my mic just my mic just fucked off for me. Much like the listeners of this podcast wasn't interested in what I was going to say.
Wasn't hanging about.
Hammer horror werewolves, they changed the full moon, but I feel like every other movie, like Benicio del Toro's Wolfman,
Yep.
was that full moon, or was that just he wants to be the Wolfman?
I think the reason that they changed it in films though is because
it's very limiting.
it's super limiting. Like, you're a werewolf? Yeah, I am. That's why I'm on the super team with Dracula, Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde. Nice. When are we going out on a mission? Well, you guys will be going out 29 days of this month. I get to kick back at a HQ.
I'm the guy in the
once a
chair.
month, though. I'll be there.
I'm on the field, but only for a short amount of time between this time and that time.
As long as we can do the mission in a 12-hour period. The other problem is, and the other funny part of it is like, oh, fuck, finally, Wolfman's coming out with us on a mission because it's the new moon. Let's go, Wolfman.
Overcast and cloudy.
Well, like, does that affect him?
No, I think I have to imagine
What I was going to say, just before you get into this, what I was going to say is like, oh, cool, Wolfman's here. Let him rip, and he just turns on you instantly because he's a feral beast.
Yeah, he's a feral beast. Yeah, we got fucking Wolfman for the mission. We're gonna go invade this base full of action men who've just been purporting horrible racist things throughout the world. We've got to get this action man. I was like, Werewolf man, go for it, and then just ravages the entire
Instantly
team.
turns on Dracula, smashes Frankenstein's head off, and then goes on a rampage off. Yeah, like you can't contain the Wolfman.
I just love
Anyway.
the idea of just doing like a comedy series where it's just like it's the Hammer House horror characters, but they're like a Avengers team trying to do
I'd watch. Gavin, you don't need to say anything else. I would watch the fuck out of that.
We might have just come up with the greatest. We need to.
I mean, is that not what Hellboy was attempting? Kind
But
of.
we were doing like a comedy. That was, I guess, that was trying to do like a but we were doing like, what could I relate it to that's current and relevant?
Avengers. You just did.
Oh yeah,
That was-
I did. Literally, I just
that was
did
in
it,
your pitch.
and then I, for some reason, abandoned it mid pitch.
Avengers with Hammer House horror cast.
Oh, I feel
The
like
Mummy, The Mummy, Dracula, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and a Frankenstein. There's your 5 main Avengers.
and now we relate them to the event. Like obviously, Frankenstein is Hulk. No,
Yeah.
but then Wolfman's Hulk because then he becomes uncontrollable and feral.
Yeah, once a month. Dracula's your Iron Man. He's got the Riz.
I just recently learned what that means because I'm so hip and trendy. Then who's Captain America?
The problem is
The problem is
the
these.
problem is that the Mummy is useless. The Mummy's so
The Mummy's
like,
Hawkeyes.
The Mummy, no, because Hawkeye is more useful than the Mummy. Like if I was like, oh shit, here comes Mega Ultron or something. I don't know what the bad guys of the bad guys would be in the house. Here comes a village full of pitchfork wielding villagers
I think it's funny that like
to take us down. The monster Avengers. Send out the Mummy. If I was a villager, I'd be like, oh, just set fire to him. I don't care. Like, let's just all walk around the Mummy. He's useless.
I think if your evil Avengers characters, i.e. the vampire, werewolf, mummy, I think they have to fight people even more deplorable than them. So they're just like going after pedophiles the entire time. So they're just like traveling the world, destroying like pedophile rings and stuff.
That's such a dark plot for a film.
But it's a comedy.
I've just realized as well, actually, that Dracula's not Iron Man. I think Dracula's Captain America because Creature from the Black Lagoon is Iron Man.
How is Creature from the Black Lagoon in any way Iron Man?
Because the Creature from the Black Lagoon's main like drive in pretty much every one of those films is that he just wants to fuck,
You're thinking of The Shape of Water.
which is based off of the originals because that's Creature from the Black Lagoon's constantly coming out of said Black Lagoon because he's trying to find his next bride or wife or missus that fine.
True.
The subtext would be that he's going to fucking rape them because he's a fish man. But
Fishman notorious for rape.
well, you're not going to do it because you want to, other than her from Shape of Water. I don't know why she did that. Why she of all like just the stupidest fucking plot. Michael Shannon ripping his fingers off, just biting them apart, and she's having sex with a fish. How did that win an Oscar? That film sucked dick.
I thought the movie was great,
Oh,
but let's
fuck
try and
off.
stay on.
You thought that film was great because you were in your like, I'm gonna like all
It's
the
funny
films
you
that
bring that
everyone
film
else
up,
likes.
though. As of recording this, Guillermo del Toro is currently in Glasgow scouting to make his Frankenstein movie.
Oh fuck yeah!
So earlier he was in Merchant City.
what? How do you know this? Why are we
'cause-
not down there? We should be doing like Man on the Street.
Can you imagine? Are
and
you
find
Guillermo del Toro? Nah, mate. Who the fuck you?
I could spot Guillermo del Toro a mile off. Have you seen that man?
But you can't say his name, but you could spot him, I guess.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
You can't say
Yes,
that.
I can. Guillermo del Toro. I just said it.
Guillermo del Toro.
That's not how I speak.
Oh, let's go find Guillermo del Toro.
don't appreciate-
I'm Gavin. That's my friend Guillermo del Toro.
Why am I Russian?
Because you're a fucking Cossack.
Oh, God. Werewolf.
Changes once a month in the moon. Is it moonlight? Is it moonlight that predicates the turn?
I think, yeah, because in every one of those movies, you see the clouds move out of the way of the moon. And
Oh,
the
that's
moon.
a classic bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has to be moonlight.
It has to be moonlight.
So werewolf on a cloudy night.
Just a man.
That seems so shit.
Just John from accounting.
That can't be it.
Well, no, that's why, like we
Is
said,
it? Oh shit! No, it can't be. It can't be it because if you have a werewolf underground, they still wolf out.
do they?
That scene, you're right. That scene with the clouds parting, it might be like if they know it's a full moon. Maybe it's like a mental block. Maybe it's like you get kind of like the genie thing. You get bit by a werewolf, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, holy fuck, I got bit by that massive wolf. And I was like, oh shit, man, that means you're a werewolf now. Werewolves change on a full moon. So then you're like kicking around and you're like, especially because you're a werewolf and you know you're going to turn into a wolf, you're like tracking when the next full moon is, and the moment it hits, you're like, oh, fuck, I'm turning into Wolfman. So in those films when they're just like Mario tune down London. I don't know why I did the Mario tune. First one that popped into my head. And they're just like, oh, this is a real nice night. Pretty bright, though. Kind of feels like maybe it's a full moon. And then they turn and they see it. It reminds them, boom, they're a wolf.
So you're saying kind of like you said with the genie, the first genie sets out the rules. The first werewolf
Kind of.
sets the rules for the other werewolves. So almost like a placebo, kind of like...
It's like a placebo transformation.
Just be like, oh, if there's a full moon, you will change.
You will change.
And
And
then
that causes the change.
So you're saying they could change whenever they want, but they don't because they in their mind.
That might be it. Because classic werewolf is full moon. Underworld werewolves are like an evolved form where they're like, oh wait, I don't need a full moon. I'm a wolf now. Rawr. You know?
Yes.
The natural evolution would you would think would end up with werewolves changing whenever. But classic lycanthropy is affected on a full moon.
I'm going to say then, going off your original question.
So if you put a werewolf, or if you put a man who's affected by lycanthropy in a rocket, blasted him up to the moon, and what would happen?
Nothing.
You don't think?
No, I think him being on Earth and the rays of the moon traveling through
You
space.
think it's space radiation?
Space radiation of moon coming through the atmosphere and hitting him makes him change.
So
Also,
you're arguably arguing for Wolfman being the fifth member of the Fantastic Four.
yes.
Space radiation.
Or going off of the placebo idea, if the Wolfman is on the moon, he can't see the moon.
Yeah.
Thus, he can't see the full of the moon. Thus, he just becomes man and not
What
wolf.
if you told the Wolfman before he was going up, you're like, by the way, we're sending you to the moon. Bye.
But he can't see
the button.
the full moon.
Yeah, but he knows he's on the moon.
But I don't think being on it, that's not the full moon, though. That's just being on the moon.
That's the most moonlight you're possibly ever going to get in your entire life.
no, because
I
there's
mean,
no light coming from the moon. It's
what are
just
you talking about?
It's
If you're
just
not
the
on the dark
sunlight-
side of the moon, you're on the bright side of the moon.
yeah, that's
which
just
is
the
fucking,
sun bouncing off the moon
All
and
right,
hitting
fine.
him.
So there's my next question for you. Why can't werewolves change during fucking daytime? It's just sunlight anyway.
Because a werewolf during daytime is difficult to do with the limited budget you have on your movie. That's why. So you do it in darkness so the effects look easier. That's why in the movies it's
What's
always
the
at
other
night.
rule in werewolves? If you kill to break the curse, you have to kill the werewolf that bit you. And silver bullets, right? That's the only
Silver bullets, yeah.
silver bullets. Definitely to break a werewolf curse, you have to kill the werewolf that turned you.
Kind of it follows rules, you know?
I mean, pretty much, yeah. Like, but that's so it theoretically means there's an alpha wolf, for lack of a better term, that if you killed would cease the curse.
But then how do you find the alpha wolf?
You have to track it back.
So could you...
So, like, if you're being selfish, you could be like, let's just say you bit me.
Okay.
We're out on a night out in Glasgow, a few pints of Guinness down, and you're like, "Here, gal, watch this." And I'm like, "What?" And you're like, "Wow!" And you go all snouty and bite me. You're like, "You're a werewolf now, you cunt," and you fuck off and leave me. So if I was being selfish, I could just be like, "Right, well, I'm gonna go kill Gav." That sorts me out. But if we were clever about it, I'd be like, "Look, Gav, this werewolf thing's fucking pish. Who bit you?" And you're like, "Well, is this like Phil?" For talking's sake. And we're like, all right, well, let's go Phil, and then we could sort ourselves out, but we could be like, Phil, who bit you? You know what I mean? You could slowly, because if Phil's still turning into a werewolf, and we're actually, you always know if the chain is unbroken.
Who do we
because-
think bit Phil?
Oh, I don't know. His dad?
Fuck, okay.
What? He seems like a werewolf.
No, he doesn't.
Have you never met him?
I've met him multiple times.
Really hairy.
He's quite...
Have you ever seen him on a full moon?
Excellent point. I've never met him at night.
The amount of people I've never met on a full moon or seen on a full moon, and by that thought, I'm like, oh, it might be werewolves.
Don't know. Yeah. I also want to say, is it that bad being a werewolf?
No, of all of them, I'd pick. Well, of all of them, I'd pick Dracula or werewolf.
Yeah, you want to be like Dracula because then you're like,
Immortal.
yeah, sexy, immortal.
But werewolf's a close second because it's just not that. It's not that effect. Like, it doesn't affect you. Once a month, just put me out in the fucking shed with a rabbit or something. I'll kill the rabbit or a few chickens.
Okay.
What?
I just like the idea, just like, Hannah's like, oh fuck, there's a full moon coming up. Like, oh, I've got to get like the chain and stuff and all that out. And you're just like, oh, like, is the shed ready? And she's like, yeah. And takes you out to the shed, and she just like puts on a cartoon of some kind.
Puts on YouTube like relaxing dog noises.
Relaxing dog noises. Puts a bowl in the ground with some dead rabbit meat in it. But then you're a vegan, so does that not affect you being a vegan?
Werewolf Gary's he's fine.
So that doesn't count.
No, it's the same as a wild animal eating. I'm not angry that a dog eats meat.
I've just discovered it.
What?
I've just put it together. You are a werewolf, and you have chosen to be vegan so that to make up for what you do as a werewolf.
Yeah.
So when you're not werewolf, you want to eat as little to no meat as possible to help the poor defenseless
so that I
animals.
can eat the animals when I'm a werewolf.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most manageable of all of the Hammer horror monsters. Like, because you're right. Like, well, the moon's coming out. You just chain yourself up somewhere.
Kinky as well.
Just fucking knock yourself out with like 1,000 painkillers.
Yeah, just take a horse tranquilizer.
Oh, yeah,
but then is the wolf inside you like the Hulk, where it's a different entity that takes over?
That's a fucking great question. Is it?
It could be, because you lose control and the wolf takes over. It's your primordial
you never have any, because no wolf man is ever like, oh, I remember fuck those 5 virgins I ate last night. Shit, they always just wake up and they're like, there's blood, where? And then they have to read,
it happened again.
Yeah, they have to read the news and they're like, oh, those people probably are in my belly now.
I have to deal with the moral conundrum of what I've done. It's like the movie
Yeah.
Morbius.
Milo.
Milo?
That was the Matt Bellamy's name.
What are you talking about?
Matt Bellamy in Morbius.
Was Matt
Milo.
Smith?
Matt Smith.
Matt Bellamy wasn't in fucking Morbius. If he was, that movie, which is already a masterpiece, would have been fucking even better.
He's Matt Bellamy.
He's he the guy from like What We Do in the Shadows, Toast to London, IT Crowd? Is that not Matt Bellamy?
No, that's not Matt Bellamy.
See if Ronald knows.
That's Matt Berry.
Oh. Yeah, thanks, Ronald. That is correct.
Matt Bellamy's the guy from News. You fucking morons.
So to summarize,
He's horrible.
he's so much meaner than Dream Machine. And here's the difference between Ronald and Dream Machine. Dream Machine was just a prick, but Ronald is just like an arsehole. You know?
Yeah, he's not nice.
And I thought Audio Boy was bad, and then we got fucking Ronald.
The worst thing is, in between, every time he says something and he just tunes out instantly. Like, he's gone right now. He's completely phased out. He's not
He's just
listening.
playing with the lamp in the
He's not
corner.
listening to a fucking word we're saying. Ronald! Ronald! See?
Wouldn't even make eye contact with us.
Doesn't give a shit. Right, so Matt Bellamy from Muse definitely wasn't in Morbius.
I forgot that's where we ended up.
Matt Smith, he gets called Milo, and that's his whole villain arc, is because Jared Leto, fuck, that movie is so bad. Jared Leto doesn't call him by his real name. He only calls him Milo because he doesn't want to call him by his real name. And then at the end of it, Matt Smith giving it the whole like, you didn't call me by my real name. Oh no, he does like, you don't remember I'm Milo. I can't remember. Terrible film. Terrible
Great
film.
anecdote.
Terrible film.
So to summarize the werewolves, Morbius maybe didn't or did call Milo by his name.
All right, that brings us nicely
Does it? Oh yeah, it's a vampire.
to vampires.
I was like, does it? Oh
to
yeah, yes.
Dracula. So the rules ran on a Dracula.
I love how you made the most perfect fucking like
a segue.
a segue, and I just stepped down. That was a shit segue. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. It's better than any segue I've ever made.
Rules surrounding a Dracula. We got so kind of like a werewolf. You have to be turned. Depending on the myth, you either have to So what I know of Draculas, a Dracula can turn you into a full-fledged vampire, but only if you feed off the Dracula blood after Dracula feeds off you. If not, you become a thrall. So if I was a Dracula and I fed off you, you would have loose powers. But you would never be a full-fledged vampire. Most Draculas don't want full-fledged vampires because
That's competition.
competition. You have the ability to hypnotize and entrance people so that you can make love to them,
Woo them,
which is how
seduce them.
Dracula's always wanted to like portray it. He's date raping people.
100%.
That's a date rape.
100%.
Immortal.
Immortal. But yeah, but you know, I would say the amount of things that can kill you is more than any of the other movie monsters.
That's a good point. Sunlight, stake through the heart. I mean, that stake through the heart's a fucking weird one because that's going to kill pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's not limited
weird-
to
what a-
vampires.
How do we kill the Dracula up in Dracula Castle? The only way is a stake through the heart or beheading. Sorry, old man. That's if I wanted to kill anything, that would be my go-to.
Like, if I wanted to kill you right now, I would just put a stake through your heart.
or I'd behead you. That's like fuck. Thanks for the tip, I guess. What were people doing until they figured that out? What was the rest of Transylvania doing?
Kneecapping him.
Ah, we need to get his toes. It's all of our weaknesses.
They were putting Lego all over the ground so you like step on it. Ah, you bastard! That hurt.
Poison him. It's also, and then funnily enough, like talking about poison, I fucking can't eat garlic. Like, what the fuck?
Garlic as well as that one.
They also have a deep aversion to Christianity.
Yeah, the cross
Cross.
is holy water.
Holy water.
So you could waterboard him with holy water to bring that back in.
That's another way to kill a vampire. You just
Yeah.
fucking douse them in holy water. Man.
Is it not? You can also fire. You can also just burn them.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of, like, what a...
So I would say the whole.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, just kill... you know how you kill a vampire? How? Just the same way you kill a human
Just
being.
regular other ways.
Just think of a thing that might kill you. Well, like, like getting set on fire. Yeah, that'll do it.
Do silver bullets also work on vampires, or is it just werewolves?
I mean, they're allergic to silver, right?
Yeah.
So if I shot a vampire with something it's horrifically allergic to,
what
presumably it's
if you
gonna
just
kill
get
it.
bullets, fill them with like get shotgun pellets, fill them with like holy water,
Yep, dead.
or
Dead.
here's I don't know why my brain's gone here, but here's one: is you make concrete.
Yep.
A prime ingredient in making concrete is water. Use holy water. Trap a vampire in like a ditch. Fill it with holy water concrete. Boom. That's him there forever. And if he's immortal, he'll just keep waking up and dying. Keep
That's
waking up and
awful.
dying.
That's horrific, Gavin.
For some reason, that's what I went with.
Why?
I don't know, because we're just pointing out the amount of ways you can kill a vampire.
There's a lot of ways to kill them. I think they are super strong. Is the main thing.
Sure.
I think that's where the stake in the heart comes from, though, because I think the idea is like you actually need to use a lot of subterfuge. Your microwave looks like it's from the fucking 20s. What is that?
Well, it's lovely. It's a lovely microwave. It's actually very modern. It's only a couple of years old.
It looks ancient.
It's designed to look that way.
Why would you buy something that's
I
that
didn't.
color?
My girlfriend did.
Why did Nas buy anything that color?
Because she's got good taste, apparently. Which, if she's going out with me, clearly shows that she doesn't.
I've licked you before and you taste like shit.
It's because you bit me and made me into a werewolf.
So yeah, I think you need to use a lot of subterfuge to kill a vampire. Because if you go at a vampire awake, not happening.
Yeah, vampires got a lot of ways to hold you back. Like you said, it can hypnotize you and such and do those sorts of
And
things.
it's super strong, super fast.
Incredibly strong, incredibly fast.
Can turn into bats.
Can fly.
I always liked in Terry Pratchett's Discworld, the vampires in that universe can turn into bats, but they have to turn into a equivalent weight of bats. So you can choose. You can choose one big bat. So for me, it would be 100-pound bat,
So it's like man bat.
like a huge bat, or 100 pounds of like a swarm of bats. But if you lose one bat when you're in a swarm, you can never like you can't reconstitute. So if you're like flying, if I'm flying through Transylvania and one of my bats gets trapped in a bell tower, and I like get back to Dracula Castle, and I'm like, finally, time to rest in my coffin. Wait, where the fuck's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Where the fuck's Ben? Where is he? We can't turn back. It's like, fuck.
Sun comes up, eradicates Ben.
Oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's you gone.
Can't get that kidney back or whatever part
Whatever
Ben
it would
was.
ever been if it was he lost.
That's the other thing, is you're trapped inside for the majority of the day.
So everyone, I would be. That doesn't bother me. If
I mean,
if I was a Dracula vampire, whatever. If I was a Drampula, Vapula, Vancula,
Drampire.
Stop. If I was a vampire,
What the fuck just happened to
I
you?
had a stroke. You smell toast.
It's the microwave's on.
You make toast. You're a dick. If I If I was a vampire, I would not be fussed about the like having to stay indoors because I just like buy an Xbox, get a fucking fancy PC, and I'd be fine. Sit indoors.
Get the microwave.
Yeah, I'd get a microwave.
Get some Hot Pockets.
Eat some Rustler burgers.
Oh, Rustler! I'm not a Rustler.
I'd be fine, right? The reason I wouldn't pick vampire.
Do you know Rustlers was how America tried to get burgers into the UK?
What? Shut up. The reason I would not pick vampire more than anything else is because I just fucking love garlic.
Yeah, I am a fiend for fucking garlic.
Right?
If
Imagine, I feel like, all right, you're now immortal. Oh, that's fucking awesome. You're super strong, super fast. Incredible. Can't go out during the daylight. Honestly, that's kind of better for me. Can't have garlic bread. Change me back.
What's the point in living?
What is the point in life?
But if you're a vampire, you don't have the hunger to eat. You only have the hunger for blood.
Yes, and depending on how like weird you are as a vampire, it might be virgin blood.
Yeah, there's still that great joke from What We Do in the Shadows. Like, why virgin blood's like you wouldn't want to eat a sandwich, you know someone's fucked. And I'm like, that's such an amazing way to boil that down.
Do you want to eat a sandwich that someone would put their dick in? Right. I think I'm tapping out. Summarize, genies are...
To summarize Genie's lamps is to summarize.
Summarize, genies are fucking douches.
Why are genies douches?
Because the 3 rule thing, 3 wishes. It's just dumb. It's petty.
It's petty.
It is petty. Tom Petty.
Petit le fou.
Petty le fou. Petit boop bloop.
This has been the Meandering Movie Podcast for the month of November, the year 2023. Thank you for listening to this. I'm now going to do an outro where I'm going to say a bunch of things. You probably won't listen to it while the intro music plays over it. We have lots of social media stuff going on right now.
We're on TikTok, baby.
We're on TikTok, baby. We're outputting TikToks at an alarming rate. And by that, I mean maybe 1 or 2 a week if we can think of something, but we're not that good at it yet. Instagram, we're active on there. Twitter, every day I'm pretty much posting shit that none of you are interested in. Threads. We're on Threads. Facebook. We're on Facebook. Just search Meandering Movie Podcast. You will find us on all of those things. If you scroll down into the description, there are links for all of these that will take you straight to it, and you can follow us, you can enjoy our content, and you can interact with us and engage with us and tell us things you want us to talk about. For example, the rules around Genies, which no one told us to talk about, and for some reason we just talked about for a stupid amount of time.
I was interested in it. I think it's an interesting conversation.
I can't wait to talk about Action Man again. Thank you for listening so much. I just realised we never did names at the beginning of this because the beginning of this was a bit of a shit show, just like the whole episode. So, that has
Shut up. I'll do this part. That was Gary. And that was the little piece of crud that you find in your salad that ruins your entire day. Maybe it's a caterpillar, maybe it's a burned crouton. Gavin.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye!
Music is life.
It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies. It's Meandering Movies.